Next game is number 19 Wisconsin at Washington State at 7:30 p.m. So this is the game that I got out of the fight with Mason for the Boise State game. I won and lost at the same time. But again, both teams start out 1-0. The end of yet another home and home. There's just a bunch of those this year, the past few years. Washington State did win it in the Cheese State last year in Wisconsin by a field goal. But does Wisconsin get to return the favor in Washington? If Wisconsin loses, does the AP throw them out? I'm going to go ahead and put my opinion in for it. I think they do. Because Wisconsin has a history of, looking really good and then all of a sudden just dropping off. So history repeats itself. ESPN FPI, Wisconsin is at 64%. And the spread in Vegas, Wisconsin by 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and go first because I am just amazing that way. I'm going to go ahead and say that, these are two different offenses. One offense, their style is air raid. They throw the ball so freaking much in Washington State. And you have Wisconsin who runs the ball extremely well. They are a factory of some of the best running backs in the NFL. With that being said, I think that, I think Wisconsin can put it together on defense this year. I think last year they kind of had a hiccup or two that kind of made them realize, hey, wake up. So I'm going to go ahead and take Wisconsin here. And I think it's going to be by a field goal again. I think it's going to be by a field goal, returning the favor this time in Washington State, Wisconsin winning.
Yeah, so I just wanted to start off with a couple of things. So first of all, yes, I do think that if Wisconsin does lose this game, I think the AP throws them out. I was saying to one of my friends earlier, the AP is not playing around this year. Win or you're out. I mean, look how far they dropped Clemson. They dropped, TCU, and TCU was just in the national championship. They didn't play a bad football game. They played poorly defensively, yes, but they played great offensively, and the AP dropped them out. Same thing with Iowa. Iowa didn't even lose, and they dropped them out, and that was to put Duke in, right? And then they dropped Clemson all the way to 25 after losing. I mean, AP is win or you're out this year. That's number one. Number two, complementary football is what wins in football now, right? So you have Wisconsin who constantly runs the ball. You have Washington who constantly throws the ball. But a good team, really, if when you look at like the past couple national champions, they were good at both. They were good at passing the ball, they were good at running the ball, and they were good on defense, which is why I think both of these teams are going to do really well offensively. This is probably going to be a high yardage game for both teams, but it's going to come down to defense. Who can stop the other team? And I think that's going to be Washington State. I have Washington State to win this game in Wisconsin this year. I think they go back-to-back in this game, and I think they're going to take home the dub. I think it's going to be close. I have Washington State by 6, so obviously I'm going to call them to cover because they're going to win, I think, but that's who I've got in this game.
So this one, the boys really did make tough on me because I'm torn because Wisconsin does historically have a pretty good run offense, or a pretty good running game, I should say. A fair defense. Washington State, I remember Garner Minshew a few years ago when he transferred from East Carolina. I mean, really lit up the air raid offense out there on the West Coast with the Cougars. Both teams are 1-0. Wisconsin is fighting for an AP spot. Wisconsin's favored by 6.5. I think it is going to come down to a matter of defense, but I think the Cougars' offense is going to overpower Wisconsin's defense, and I think Washington State wins this game by a touchdown. I think they cover as an underdog. I think that they cover by a touchdown. It will be a good game, probably a high yardage game. Probably Washington State, probably 31-24 if I had to guess.